Here we are. Welcome to UTB Blogcast number 102 with a very small cast tonight. It's just Brad, and Alpha.
Yeah, he had to pull the.
Say hello, boys.
He had to pull the skeletons out of the closet to get this show started.
Seriously.
Hey, you know what?
We've lost people. Wayno is not answering. Roy, I'm assuming, is still asleep. Erica went to sleep, and Dave went to work.
Well, you know,
there's no fun in that.
This is going to be the best show that you guys have had. It's going to be even better than the 100 show. So, I feel it.
That's reaching, buddy.
Yeah. Well, you know, you have to have hope.
So, we don't have Erica to yell at us to be quiet this time.
So, let's take all the time we got.
So let's lay out. You'll be here for 3 hours tonight. 3 hours. Are you ready? Okay. Let's see. Starting up, we've got the Key One Black Edition is coming to Canada. Now, this is the international Black Edition, right? This is the higher specs, but only one SIM card?
Yes.
I don't think it's...
Okay.
Yeah, only one SIM card. Yep, no dual SIM card here. It's the 64 gig with the 4 gigs of memory. All blacked out version of the BlackBerry Key One, the version I'm jealous of many people getting their hands on before me. UTB Brad to begin with.
No, I don't have the spec'd out. I mean, I've got.
You have a black one, so
I've got black.
But
here we go, black and silver.
Yeah. So now they're available for purchase at full retail. They're unlocked. So, yeah, good news.
So that was part of it too, is they kept pushing back the unlocked phone in Canada, and I heard that they were starting to be sold. Was it Walmart started selling them in Canada?
Walmart and Amazon Canada.
And Amazon Canada. So those were the silver?
Those are the silver 32 standard edition.
Okay, and now the black.
Now the black special edition is coming to Canada via, I believe, just Amazon and slightly other retailers. I don't know if the carriers are getting them yet.
So what are the odds you think of the black edition spec'd out version making it to us here in the US? Wait, there's 3 Americans on tonight. This has never happened.
I mean, personally, go ahead, Al.
I personally think that it will make its way to the US. I think it's going to be after the AT&T exclusivity deal, since they have that exclusivity deal on the black color. So I think that once that exclusivity deal is up, I think we're going to see it here in the States, probably around the holidays.
See, that would make sense to me. The only thing that's making me think perhaps otherwise is just the fact that the Krypton is coming so soon. Do you think they'll still be pushing the Key One when the Krypton's released?
Yeah, because, you know, if you think, hopefully BlackBerry Mobile has the same mindset, that somewhat of the same mindset for these two devices. If you remember back to the BlackBerry 10 launch, right? You had the Z10 and the Q10, but the Z10 launched first. That's because they were going after a touchscreen base and they wanted voice over touchscreen. Now, BlackBerry Mobile is kind of reversing it. They know the bread and butter for a BlackBerry device is the keyboard, and everyone loves their keyboard. But they also know that there's a ton of BlackBerry users out there, or former BlackBerry users out there, that love their touchscreen devices and want a full waterproof, dust-resistant device. So I think the Krypton is still going to be pushed as much as they can, and then the Key One will be pushed, you know, maybe not as much as they are now, but you have to think a lot of these places are still the Key One. You know, we'll get to Russia later, but the Dominican Republic's also getting the Key One coming soon. So we're in the last 2 weeks of September, coming into October. So if they're going to get these devices out soon, there's not going to be much time to promote them if the Krypton's coming as well. And, you know, so if they don't promote the Key One, it just wouldn't make sense for them to launch them where they're launching them now still.
Well, I assume that the Krypton will be going to, say, the later markets at a later time too. I don't imagine a worldwide release on the Krypton all at once, because we haven't seen that yet. But I get what you're saying. I would love to. I mean, think back to the old BBOS days. we always had multiple BlackBerries up for sale, and the carriers, you could walk in, you could choose between which one you wanted. And then really after the Z10 and the Q10, it turned into a one device at a time sort of thing with BB10. And I would love to see it back to a time that, you know, you had multiple BlackBerries to choose from that were all current at the same time.
Yeah, and I think, you know, I honestly still think that we're going to see some more U.S. carriers grab the Key 1. I don't think the BlackBerry Mobile is done with the Key 1 yet, as far as pushing that with U.S. carriers. I could be wrong, but I still think. I mean, they have these Verizon unlocked devices, right? Why wouldn't BlackBerry Mobile be pushing Verizon to say, "Here, we got these devices already made up for your network. Just you can sell them as yours and put your stuff on them or whatever." They might not have Verizon logo on them, which Verizon loves to throw a big ugly Verizon sign on the back of the devices, but other than that, they're ready to go. So we'll see another U.S. carrier grab these devices, or the Key 1 before it's all said and done.
Yeah, I agree with that, Brad. I think we will see another U.S. carrier, at least one more, pick up the Key 1, especially as sales keep ramping up on the Key 1. So far, from what I've been reading and hearing, don't have exact numbers, but the Key 1's been selling. So I don't see why other carriers wouldn't want to pick up on that.
I just don't see Verizon picking it up just because there is that Verizon version that's not being sold through Verizon. I kind of feel like that was their way to get the phone into Verizon users' hands because they knew that Verizon wouldn't be carrying it. Because, you know, they made the Verizon version, quote, set up for their network, but they didn't make one for Sprint because they knew Sprint would be picking it up.
Yeah, but also Sprint has different antenna bands pretty much, or network bands compared to Verizon, so it's a little bit harder to make, you know, for instance, the GSM unlocked version that came to the US, you can pop a AT&T or T-Mobile SIM card into that and it'll work on both networks. No difference there. You can't really do the same thing with Verizon and Sprint because there are some different technologies there, so that you go ahead and make a Verizon device. I think Verizon would be more of a likely candidate than T-Mobile. I think T-Mobile has still this sour taste from BlackBerry because I don't think Priv devices sold very well with T-Mobile. I think they sold better on Verizon than they did with T-Mobile, and T-Mobile was very reluctant to pick up the Priv. They picked up the Priv, and it just sat in their stores. I think they out of the stores in like 2 weeks or so because they just weren't pushing or, you know, selling. So I think T-Mobile still has this bad taste in their mouth for a BlackBerry Priv that they're like, the Key 1. But it makes me wonder, you know, like Alfie said, you know, from what I've been hearing, the Key 1 is well over 1 million devices sold. And, you know, I think that number is a little low. I think we're probably going to hear more of a bigger number than that. But it kind of shocks me that these carriers aren't all jumping at it, because especially now that they're seeing these devices are selling for BlackBerry Mobile and people are interested in the Key 1. The Key 1 got great reviews all over the place. It just makes me scratch my head them up. You know, and I know there's Verizon customers out there that Verizon limits things to the unlocked devices. So for instance, if you buy a Key 1 unlocked with, you know, Verizon specs to it, you can't use visual voicemail or their Wi-Fi calling features because Verizon locks that out of the unlocked devices. There's some people who that's a big feature to them. Some people love their visual voicemail. Some people love their Wi-Fi calling because they get poor Verizon reception in their house or something, or in their basement or something like that. So those are features that might have buying the unlocked version and could get them to buy the Verizon device, where Verizon, now that it's their device that they're selling, they're going to make those features now available to them on that device. So there's still a window of opportunity there for them. And the other thing, Verizon's a big business company, right? There's a lot of businesses that use Verizon services. I mean, compared to T-Mobile, for that matter. You know, so, and the Key 1's, you know, if you ask me, it's a perfect business device, right? I think it's a no-brainer to throw this device on Verizon and get into Verizon business customers' hands.
Oh, we'll see. I don't see Verizon picking it up. I do think that after the reception that the Key One has got, I have no doubt that the Krypton, whatever it ends up being called, won't be picked up by all of the other carriers. I mean, it's like, I think any carrier would be stupid not to pick up a BlackBerry device now.
Yeah, no, I think you'll see the same players pick up the Krypton that you're seeing right now with the Key One. The two that have it right now,
You think?
I think Sprint and AT&T will. I mean, AT&T's been very good with BlackBerry devices over the years. They pretty much carried every BlackBerry device. It's been, I mean, they're the only carrier in the U.S. that, right? Even though they made it their own version, but there was still a passport on AT&T for that matter. They didn't sell the Classic. No, they sold the Classic.
They didn't sell the Z30.
They didn't sell the Z30. They were going to sell the Z30, which blows my mind that they didn't. But they sold the Q10, the Z10. They sold the BlackBerry Classic, the Passport. They sold the Priv. Now they're selling the Key One. I would be shocked if they don't sell this twice. The Krypton. It gives you another player to play in the smartphone game against, the iPhone, right? There's tons of Android users out there, and I think BlackBerry Mobile is more of the reason why it will sell compared to AT&T. I think they're going to be pushing more to AT&T and saying, hey, people are going to want to buy this phone. Put it on your shelves. It'll sell. And I think it will sell. But to go back to your original question, that we sidetracked from, I think the black special edition or the black edition Key One will probably make its way to the US. Like Alfie said, after AT&T gets done with their exclusiveness, we have very short windows of time between now and the end of the year, and most of carriers don't like to sell last year's models starting the beginning of the year. I think, but again, I don't think it's going to go to AT&T. So once their agreement with BlackBerry Mobile that says, hey, we're going to sell this black edition device or this space black version, and then you can sell it when we tell you to do so. I think it'll happen. I don't know when. I hope soon, because spec'd out BlackBerry Key One, people love their Key One. If they had better specs, it would sell just as well, I think.
I definitely think we'll see it, but I think we'll see it through like an Amazon. I don't think we'll be seeing it through the carriers. But
it'll be an Amazon sale, definitely.
Yeah, just because of the extra specs. And I mean, really, do you know anybody that's got one yet? Because I keep wanting to find out if they can notice any sort of difference between the devices. And I guess they would need to have both the old and the new in order to be able to tell you that too.
Yeah, not besides, people I know on the internet. I can't really, nobody physically that I've seen with the device in their hands. But yeah, I would definitely love to see the comparison. I doubt you're going to see very little bump up in performance of the device. That the extra gig of RAM is a nice thing to have, but it's not a necessary thing to have. I personally like the more storage space plus the internal or the external memory you can put into there. 64 gigs. I have a 32 gig device right now, and it's I have a 64 gig card in there, but I like to keep a lot of my apps saved to the physical device instead of the card, and don't really format my card. I don't know why, call me crazy, but having 32 gigs for all 200 apps that I download sometimes can get tricky. So 64 gigs would be a little bit better for me. But I like the higher storage space than anything.
You have 200 apps?
I had 200 apps. I don't know where I'm sitting at right now. It's roughly there.
Yes. I just got my
on my crib, I have like 130 apps.
Wow. I have 74. I know that because I just checked during my.
I don't know if 222 apps sitting on this device right now.
Yeah. I always said I wasn't much of an app guy. I guess I'm still not.
This could come through. But yeah, 222. I call myself an app whore sometimes because I like trying new apps. now that I have this ability to do so on the Key One, it's a great thing to have. I mean, it wasn't too crazy on the BlackBerry 10 devices, but I don't have apps because I need the apps. I just have them because I can have them.
Yeah, that's sort of me. I'm not much. I don't really have much of a use for so many apps, but I download them because I can and just to check them out real quick, and then they probably, I would say, 95% of the apps that I downloaded, maybe more than that, never get they after the first 2 weeks they don't get used anymore.
Yeah, I mean,
They
I
just
have
sit there
my
and take up space.
use case scenarios for different apps. Like for instance, the like a UPS app or a FedEx app, right? I don't get things delivered every day by FedEx and UPS, so tracking things isn't important. But when I do get things, I like to be able to track it with my phone. So instead of deleting that app and then reinstalling it all the time, I just keep it sitting there, just because it has its own use case scenario. It might not be a everyday application I use, like maybe like my banking app or BBM, but it's got its use case scenario that stays on my device.
I just tracked a package today with my browser. How BB10 am I?
Yeah, you're very BB10. I mean,
I did that on my Key One. I didn't even think about grabbing an app. So,
yeah, I mean,
okay.
The nice thing about some of those apps, it's more so the notifications that you get based upon those apps. Like, for instance, FedEx and UPS, they'll notify you when it's doing something instead of you having to go look for it. Kind of helps me. My OCD pretty much checking every 5 minutes.
My Alexa lets me know about my Amazon packages.
Yeah, I haven't said that.
Alpha knows that.
I haven't set that up too much, and I'm not going to say her name because she's sitting right next to me. So
I changed her name. Because of the blogcast. Because I've set her off a couple times talking about her during the blogcast. So
I just got done watching. I just got done watching the first episode of the new season for South Park, the one where they started making fun of Alexa and Google Home, and it apparently every time they said, hey Alexa, it set off everybody else's Alexas while they're watching it, and it's South Park, so go run with your imagination what they told Alexa to do.
Well, Roy is awake, and I don't know why he's not here yet.
Because he's still waking up, man.
Yeah, he's screaming in group he's here, but he's not here, and here is where we need him. So I kind of want him here too, because let's see. Next up on the list, we've got Delphi. Is it Delphi? Am I saying it right?
Yeah, but that's not next to the list, man. Come on. That's like the last thing on the list.
Yeah. Well, okay. Let's go with the Krypton. Let's go with the Krypton then. Is that next?
Nope. Gartner's next.
I thought we talked about Gartner.
No, we talked about it in the pre-show.
Oh, hey, let's talk about Gartner. We need Erica.
Nice.
I'm not a good Erica.
Of someone new.
Hey, Roy.
Hey, what's up?
Roy, how the heck are you, buddy?
Well, I didn't woke up.
He's risen from the dead.
It's a holiday. It's the New Year of the Jewish, and too many dinners.
Too many partying a little bit over there.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to the show, Roy. Glad you can make it.
You made it just in time. We're just finishing up. So thanks for joining the UTB Blogcast.
Really?
No.
Good.
We're actually just getting started talking about Gartner. And I know that you're all prepared for that, right?
Oh. Gartner. Yeah.
Go for it, Brad. I know that you were reading into it. You and Alpha both beforehand. That's what got me thinking we already talked about it.
I thought the fact that I told you to talk about it would mean that I wouldn't have to talk about it. See, the benefits of doing these shows sometimes, I'll let the fans in on behind the scenes. If you guys don't know, I do a podcast a day before these guys do on my site, bearboard.com. Go check it out. Cheap plug. So I usually talk about the same things that these guys do a day beforehand. So I already know what I'm talking about. This came out just briefly. So so it looks like BlackBerry won some more awards with Gartner. They scored they want the scored the highest on 2 of their reports. Where did I lost my page? What did they score high on? They scored high 2 out of 13. 5, yeah. So the one, it was critical capabilities, use case graphics. Or no, sorry, that's the name of the graphics. Product or service score for workforce productivity. And then the product or service score for centralized content protection. And both of those cases, they beat out Citrix was second, Edgenite, Box, Soft, and then the previous one pretty much was BlackBerry was first, Citrix, Dropbox, and Box for workforce productivity. So yeah, and they came in second in most of the other cases. So
they came out second in 2 more cases, and
fourth in another one.
If you will see the cases, so BlackBerry won the 2 most important cases. First of all is productivity, and the other one is the security. And the other one, like UI, dashboard looking, the less important cases for those collaboration apps. And basically, Workspaces is the best collaboration app. If you read the report, I read it for like an hour.
Yeah, they work. BlackBerry Workspace is pretty much what got them the award there. We all know how great BlackBerry Workspace is. I mean, it's a great way to help them make sure that their your company's documents and files are all secure no matter where they go. Protect them pretty much everywhere they go. So that was pretty much the big thing that drove them home the win in the 2 cases. And you can see it by the people that they beat out. I mean, the product or services score for workforce productivity, like I said, they beat out Citrix, Dropbox, which is a big name cloud storage product. Box is another one. They beat out Axway, and they beat out all the big name cloud-based storage. No Apple on there, so I guess Apple's not really considered, because they don't really store anything in the cloud, right? It's more just iCloud personal stuff that's not really workforce. So anybody that's looking to protect their documents and important files in the cloud, this is a big thing for them to look at, because hey, BlackBerry's beating out all these big name companies. I know my company for some odd reason switched over to Microsoft productivity stuff, and I scratch my head every time they do, but they beat out Microsoft, which they have OneDrive services, and they beat out Box and Dropbox. So it's a big win for them. They didn't come out top notch on each case, but it came out top notch in the important cases.
I'm still wanting to see Workspaces for consumer.
And it's important to say that all this report is for enterprise users. So we know that Box and Dropbox, and I think Microsoft and Google give you consumer use for those apps, but it's not about the consumer, it's only about the enterprise.
Was that in response to me saying I want to see Workspaces for consumer?
Probably.
Well, no, I mean that's a good point, right? We don't have any type of cloud storage, and I've said this before, I think we don't have any type of cloud storage solution from BlackBerry. And me as a consumer, and I don't really consider myself a enterprise user. I use some enterprise stuff, but not really too much. But me as a consumer, and very, I want it to be secure as much as it possibly can. And I know these solutions that I use today, like Dropbox and Google Drive, I know they're not very secure. I use them, but I know they're not secure. So I don't really put too much crazy stuff up there. And I just wish that BlackBerry would give us some kind of cloud storage like Dropbox or Google Drive and give it out to consumers, to use, or give the consumers a way to get access to it or purchase it. And I think if people would look at these numbers or these charts, they would say the same thing. How many people use Dropbox? How many people use Box? How many people use Google Drive? There's millions and billions of customers that are using this stuff. Consumers, let's just forget about the enterprise stuff. There's tons of people that are using these products to store their documents and personal files and bank account information and stuff like that. If they looked at these, they got beat up by BlackBerry. How secure would you feel about those products now? If you're a consumer, if you have no clue that BlackBerry is doing this stuff, right? If you're just your average Joe consumer that hasn't been paying attention to BlackBerry, you see these charts. Does that make you your cloud storage service?
It doesn't need to be the same level either. I look at some of the options that Workspaces does, and like, do I really need file level security on every one of my files? I probably don't as a consumer, but the whole idea of how it shares and how it gives different permissions to different people that you share to, like, I could share something to Dave and not know if he's going to show up tonight, and it's fine when he does show up, and it's all good.
And you don't know if he's taking those documents and just sharing it to the lady that's on the street that he talks to every Thursday.
Look, leave her
Exactly.
out. Okay? She's a nice kid and she's cool, so just leave her out of this. I mean, really.
You met her at the Michael Jackson
Welcome, Dave.
House, right?
Yo.
Yo.
What the hell you guys talking about? I just got here.
BlackBerry.
Oh, okay. See ya.
Yeah. The fruity iPhone show is down the left.
For a moment, we had an all-American show, and we were making fun of everyone else. And then Israel showed up, and Canada showed up. So now Brad Alpha and the other Brad have to mind our manners.
Well, actually, before everything, it almost was going to be a Brad and Brad show. So Alfie saved us from that. But
I was a little reluctant to be locked in a digital room with two guys named Brad, but I decided to join in.
Dude, you have no idea. Okay, I get it. And, it's just like UTB to have a Brad identity. I mean, a brand. Sorry.
Is Roy taking the world's longest selfie down there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
looking at waffles.
Froze up on a selfie mode there.
Or something.
So now that Dave is here, did you have anything to add to the Black Edition Key One coming to Canada, or to Workspaces gathering some more Gartner love?
Yes and no. I ran away and came back, and as far as the Black Edition coming to Canada can't come soon enough. I'm constantly checking my carrier's page for information on that, and hopefully the upcoming coded Krypton name, whatever the heck that's going to be called. I don't know why they don't just call it Krypton. I mean, come on. But as far as the other subject goes, I don't know. I'm not well versed in it. So you should probably just, bypass me.
Well, you just did that, and Brad disappeared. So
really, where'd he go?
I think he thought you were telling him to get out of here.
Why?
Now, I have a question. Now I know, let's say if someone from the States wanted to import the all black spec bumped BlackBerry Key 1, it'd probably be pretty expensive, wouldn't it? Don't all answer me at once.
What? You need to pack it inside of like prescription medicine so it wouldn't be found.
But it'd probably be it probably would be more expensive. I'm guessing that it would be more expensive. I guess with having to bring it over here and stuff like that. But what I also would like to know is if the carriers in Canada share the same radios as GSM carriers in the United States.
That's a good question.
If I'm not mistaken, it's so ridiculously similar that you can't go wrong, except for any CDMA variant. So there is no CDMA in Canada. And if you bought, what is it, a Verizon or a Sprint unit, no matter what it is, if it's a CDMA thing, if you brought it into Canada, you would have a lunch bag letdown and a Wi-Fi device. So,
well, typically the CDMA phones are world phones and they're made for travel, so they still have the GSM radio. It's more a case of you can't bring a GSM phone onto Verizon, say, but you could take a Verizon phone somewhere else and run it on their networks. Typically, I know like the Z30 was only available at Verizon, and all the AT&T folks are running their the Verizon Z30.
Well, that could be. I have no experience with it. If there is no CDMA in Canada, it does not.
There shouldn't be here either. It's stupid.
Yeah, I'm running my my BlackBerry 10 device is a Z30 with a Verizon Z30 with an AT&T SIM card in it, so it works. But I think it's more so domestically it'll work. I don't think it's domestic versus international features that it lets it go to. But
now I was one of the few lucky people to actually have an AT&T branded Z30.
I'll trade you for my Verizon branded.
You
Z30.
did not.
Yeah, I did. I sold it now, but I actually had one. It was an AT&T branded Z30, and I'm totally shocked that they did not bring that over to
I don't know,
AT&T.
man.
I mean, they had the phone ready and everything.
Pix or it's a Motorola.
They had the phone ready and everything.
I mean, I believe you, and 2 out of 3 of the other people probably believe you. But how many?
I actually posted a pic to the group.
You did not.
No, I remember hearing about those. Now Dave doesn't believe it unless he's seen it.
I did.
But
ages. You know what? If I can still find the picture,
you're so screwed.
I will repost it. I will repost it.
All right.
Okay.
Because I'll believe it if you let me see it.
So let's move on to the Krypton, because Dave started that direction. We've seen some possible pics of the Krypton floating around all over the place now. I really think everywhere except for UTB this time. I thought Roy was going to get those up. I don't know. So what do you think about what we've seen so far?
I'm hedging bets. I'm wondering if it's a complete and utter horse pucky, or what Canadians would call horse shit or bullshit?
It could be. I tend to think it's one of their test devices. You know what I mean? That if the actual device came out next month and looked exactly like that, I wouldn't be shocked. I do think the BlackBerry bullets on it look a little funky. Like that's what makes me think it's a
funky.
Yeah, they just look kind
How
of
about completely misaligned, totally unorganized.
Yeah, well,
And
see, that's
looks
what I can't tell if
a
that's
blind person stabbed them on the phone. Well, you know, while the blind person wasn't looking.
I just can't tell if that is a trick to your eyes because of the texture of the back, or if it really is jacked up. Because I mean, you look at the texture. I've seen two pictures, and one of the pictures, and I'm sure it's the same phone. One of the pictures, the bullets look fine. They looked absolutely like you'd expect on any phone. The other one, they looked jacked up, and I just think it's that the design on the back is playing with our eyes.
Or is it the perspective?
That too could be.
Well, I personally think
funky.
I do think that device looks a little suspect, the back of it. But I do think that the Krypton is going to be very, very similar in looks to the Key One. That's what I think. I think it's going to look almost like a Key One, except
Alpha,
no
you
physical.
you work a little bit of security, right?
Yes.
So if you say it looks a little suspect, I'm with you, man. Like, oh, the way I'm with you, man.
And
seriously, this guy knows suspects.
This Vietnamese side have a good reputation when it comes to show leaked prototypes of new devices.
Yeah, no discounting that. I agree with that.
And we talked about that the device will have a home button, and this will be the first BlackBerry with a home button. And we're wrong.
Home button on the front.
Yeah, we're wrong.
Not on the back.
We had BlackBerry BBOS 7 device, a full touch with for the tool belt, if you remember. So we had a full touch device with a home button.
You talking about the touch Storm, or not Storm, Torch?
Kind of.
Kind of.
I don't remember.
I remember there was the full touch Torch. It had the name of the torch, but it was full touch. It wasn't a slider.
And it had the tool belt.
And it had the tool belt at the bottom. Yeah.
I don't know. It kind of sounds like, YMCA kind of tool belt, something. Why did I come here? I don't know. I came rushing back here to be here, and now I'm just being
I just woke up.
Silly person.
I woke up 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, well, you have a better excuse than I do.
So is Dave going to be the first one with the Krypton?
Man. Oh, man. If you plop down a 4 gig memory, 64 gig storage, Key One, I don't know whether I want black or silver based on your video. I don't know. And then you plop down what I think I'm imagining as the Krypton, which makes me so weak. With the same specs, let's just say they were both 4 gig and 64 gig. If you plop them both down right in front of me and they had the same sock, because I always have a sock missing. I don't know about you guys.
I'm
not sure. Yeah, I don't know which one I would want to pick up and carry as a daily driver, because I love me some BlackBerry keyboards, the hardware keyboards. I love me some of that. I also love their software keyboard. I have absolutely no problem with that. So I love them both. I have absolutely no trouble with the DTEC 60s keyboard. Love that. Love the space that I get for video and any other thing that I'm doing with it, spreadsheets, you name it. But the physical keyboard of the Key One is spectacular, even though I haven't been able to use it as a daily driver. I've had my hands on one. I don't know. I have to wait for that thing to come out, and which is why I've been, you know, looking for places that might be carrying it. I want my carrier tell us to carry it, because then they'll have both. I'll be able to go someplace and A/B them live. So next month, my contract is up, and I'll be able to get either one. But I'm gonna have to wait for that. I want either one of them. And I've been waiting. I could have got a Key One earlier, but I've been waiting because I knew this was coming.
I think what we've seen, if it's true, I tend to think it's going to be less premium, I guess you'd say, than the Key One. I look at it and I love what they did with the Priv camera, right? They made the Priv camera look big. There's no denying that you had a nice camera on that phone. It was something to look at and something to see. And then you look at the Key One and it's a big camera again, right? You know, it's not like Apple trying to make it as small as they could. And, you know, these other guys would just have the lens. There's a big surround on it. They want you to see that thing. Now on the Krypton, it's smaller. It's a lot smaller. It has the single flash instead of the dual tone flash. I just think that with those decisions, I tend to think we're going to see that type of minimalist decisions throughout the phone.
And you may get a spec bump from the SOC from 625 to 626, and I don't know what that's going to do for you on a daily basis. The go ahead, Alpha.
Well, I'm thinking that the Krypton, whatever they decide to call it, but like Dave said, they really need to keep it at Krypton, is going to be, it will definitely be less expensive than
the Key One.
Than the Key One. And isn't the Krypton supposed to have the IP67 certification?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah. There's that. We didn't get that far, but thank you for bringing it up. It's going to have some water resistance. Nobody should call it waterproofing. It's water resistant. And the other thing is the most kick-ass battery on planet freaking Earth.
Yeah, 4,000.
Yep.
If it has the SOC that we're thinking, which is either 625 or the 626, both of those SOCs are very battery aware. And it's the kind of thing where you wouldn't even think about having to charge your device for like 2 days.
Mobile should present it with the battery size is 10 hours more than the Key One.
Yeah, and if that's true, Roy, if that's true, my decision is made, because that's my most favorite feature. I have power at my desk. I have power in my car. I have power at home, and I have a portable battery, and I can host all of that and not worry about a damn thing. As long as I'm charged up when I leave today, I can come home, you know, whatever, 18 hours later and still be just fine. Thank you very much. That's one of my biggest features, and that along with a BlackBerry software keyboard would put me into BlackBerry Nirvana. I think.
Yeah,
I think.
I think with I see the Krypton being the same price as the Key One, if not the same price, lower.
Really, I'd say lower,
because of the fact that it does have the same specs as the Key One. They're supposedly has the 625 or the 626, which is roughly pretty much the same processor. It's gonna have the good battery in it. The camera kind of throws it off because it does seem like a smaller camera, but just because it's a smaller camera doesn't mean it's a lesser camera on the device.
right?
The dual tone flash could still be there. If you look what Apple did with the iPhone 8, right? If you watch any of the reviews or unboxings, they have a dual tone flash in there. It's a little circle, about yay big, but it's a dual tone flash in there. So they could have shoved a dual tone flash into that little circle spot. And again, the camera being that size, it's still could be a good, decent camera for it. I hope it is, because that's pretty much a big feature that shocked everybody with the Key One,
Right.
and I think they need to keep that going with the Krypton.
Yeah,
I think
it's super good point. Good point.
I think the IP68 and 67 is the reason why the price tag stays the same.
And it'll make shower selfies much easier.
Yeah, we're not worried about that right now. It's that BlackBerry users don't do that stuff. Come
Okay, look, obviously the two Brads have something going on, and we're just not going to judge.
No, but
we're not judging here. We don't do that here.
I want to see the camera continue to improve phone to phone. I mean, I know that
Nice segue.
I was one of those people that's like, yeah, why do you need a great camera on your phone? You carry a camera with you. Well, I don't carry a camera with me anymore. And it is a huge buying point for a lot of people, that camera. More so than a lot of stuff that you think should be a huge buying point.
Yeah, I mean,
it is.
Even the front-facing camera on the Key One is a spectacular camera on the Key One, and that was kind of the camera that shocked me. I knew that the rear camera was going to be fine because it's the same sensor that the Pixel has, but the front-facing camera, no one really made a big fuss about it.
But they sure made a big fuss about the Priv front-facing camera.
Well, because the Priv front-facing camera shouldn't have even been there. That was just a horrible camera. Don't even bother taking selfies with it or anything with it, for that matter. But
I don't know. I look way better on my Priv selfies than I do my Key One selfies.
Well, that's just because you broke the camera already. That's all.
No, that's just because of my face.
It's the Brad face.
It's a built-in filter.
Yeah, but you're right. The camera that most people would take a picture with on the Priv is excellent. And I've compared that to the DTEC 60 on numerous occasions, and the DTEC 60 is ever so slightly different, but equally as excellent. Its initial specs are better, but like any kind of art, when you take a picture, and depending on what you do with it, the results can be subjective. So as long as you have the ability to capture something, that is finely detailed, what you do with it afterwards is your business, and that's your art. So both of those devices are incredibly good for producing. And I'm going to throw the Passport in there too, because it's taken some incredible photos for me. And then we have the Key One, which I don't have any experience with, and its photo capabilities are equal to or better than what we've experienced with previous units. So, we only see things that get better. That's technology. I'm looking forward to that kind of a thing.
The Key One camera is incredible, because like I said, I'm one of these guys that I take pictures all day long, but not like of fancy stuff or of my food or my coffee.
We're not interested in those pictures, man.
Yeah, but I use my camera as my notes. Right? I take pictures of stuff that I need to go back and look at later. And those aren't pictures that need to be clear. They're not pictures that need to be great or ever shared. They're there to remind me of something, and I delete them. And I am constantly amazed at those pictures. It's like, wait a minute, that's actually a good picture, right? It's like, I didn't do any setup. I walked by and I snapped a picture, and then I look at it later. It's like, damn, that's nice. And the phone camera before, never, not even my Priv.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a really good camera on the Key 1. You know, and I hope they bring that tradition over to the Krypton. You know, it'd be nice to see that camera tradition keep going. But I think that they can do it. I don't think, you know, the iPhone, like even the iPhone camera, the Samsung camera, you know, besides the Note cameras, they're not really too big of lenses on them, right? If correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, if you look at, where's my
I think so much of it is light and stuff you can capture in lower light modes and whatnot. Those kinds of things are what people want or need, and it's been a failing of so many smartphone cameras that they can't capture low light situations. So
yeah, and I was just looking at my Classic today, and I noticed that the camera, if you remember the Classic camera, it looks very similar to what we were seeing on the Krypton. I mean, that small little hole kind of has the same housing for the camera there as it did on the Krypton. The Classic camera wasn't horrible, wasn't bad, but wasn't, you know, definitely wasn't Key 1 level camera. But
yeah,
you know, I think they can fit a decent sensor nowadays into a small little tight hole and get away with it. You know, maybe this is their low end device. Maybe this is their. Hey,
I don't know. I'm thinking it's a Key 1 without a keyboard. That's all I'm thinking.
Yeah, I think so too. I just hope they don't.
I would have really liked for the back to look like the Key 1 back.
I mean, if you look at the leaked photos, there's two backings, right? There's that gray greenish one, which I really hope they don't go with that one. That to me that looks ugly. I hope they go with the black version or the black backing to it, and I hope it has that same backing like as well, or even like the Z30 backing. I've been using my Z30 constantly lately, and it's such a good back or texture on the back of the device.
It's an amazing piece of equipment.
So I hope they go maybe that one. It kind of reminds me of the Z30 backing. Honestly, if you look at those two photos,
yeah,
it looks very similar to the Z30. Hey, if they took the Z30 and just turned it into the Krypton, I'm buying it.
You know what? That thing has a Krypton of battery.
And a Krypton of chin.
I mean, if you look at it, I mean, the Z30 is almost similar camera housing too to the Krypton. Slightly different, you know, build to it, but I don't know. It's rumors, it's speculations. We don't know what's going on right now. I'm also hearing that you don't want to kill anybody's hopes, but the October date might not be the date that we see this thing.
Oh, it's typically late in the year. Wouldn't shock me if it was November, but whatever.
I mean,
you,
I think
you never know. It might come out in the UK in October, and we'll see it a month or more later.
Yeah, I know they want to get this thing out before the end of the year, so that's because BlackBerry Mobile said they're going to get 2 devices out this year, right? So
yeah,
let's hope that they.
Canada sucked it. The hiney last time, so I think that they should be at the front of the bus this time. Come on, dudes.
I think the U.S. should be at the front of the bus. What are you talking about? Come on.
Yeah, well, that's because you're the U.S.
We're such big BlackBerry
supporters over here. Even though you don't get it, and then you complain.
Because America's great again, right?
Yeah, whatever. Let's all put on our red hats.
I got nothing but green and black hats. Sorry.
So now that we've exhausted that topic and possibly wandered into not good topics.
Yeah, moving right along.
Yeah, where are we?
Hey, how's everyone's cars doing?
Oh, shut up. Shut up. Okay, now we have talked about Russia, right?
Oh no, I skipped the topic. Sorry.
I thought we talked about Russia.
Russia?
We briefly mentioned it, but we didn't elaborate.
Okay, so key one's coming to Russia
The end.
and Dominican Republic.
Good.
Yeah, good news. And also the BlackBerry Mobile announced that there's different keyboard configurations now you can choose from.
Yes.
On BlackBerry Mobile's website, I believe, which is pretty cool.
On the European store.
Yeah, the EU.
Oh, the keys, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw the keys, the different keyboards when I posted about the store. So it's not really new.
How many different keyboards are there? Just
There is
three. Well, in that store, there's the QWERTY, there's the Quartz,
and the
and
other
yeah, it was what's the other one? The
Azerty.
Azerty.
Yeah,
AZE.
Azerty.
Yeah.
Okay, so is it a key 4?
Dave, have you been drinking again?
Shit, yeah.
I don't think he's had enough yet.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm just asking. I mean, you guys, you came up with the subject, so
I think you came up with the subjects and then said, "I'm going to work. Bye."
Look, all I did was throw a dart and run away. Quiet.
Really fast.
Quiet now.
Okay, so next up is Delphi. Am I saying it right? Is it Delphi or Delphi?
That's the way I say it. I say Delphi. It could be Delphi, and I don't think that you're wrong either way. That's just my humble opinion, and
I say Z10, you say Z10.
Yeah.
Before we go into Delphi, I think it's good to mention that BlackBerry got someone else to pick up BlackBerry Radar. Fleet Complete.
That was next after Delphi. Okay.
That's not even on the topic list, man.
It is on the topic list. It's after Delphi.
He added it.
You
Added it.
Hey, I'm just a guest here, all right?
Okay, go ahead, Alpha. You go, buddy.
I'm with you, Alpha. You added it. You do it.
But yeah, Fleet Complete picked up BlackBerry Radar to add to its fleet solution. Fleet Complete is using another competitor's tracking solution as well, but they decided to add BlackBerry's so they could have a more effective tracking solution and a more complete tracking solution for their fleet. Which I think is a great idea. I think it's great to see that BlackBerry Radar is gaining more traction. I think that's awesome.
So is Fleet Complete a third-party provisioning type of company? They're offering more than one solution to an end user, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yes, they are.
And so Fleet Complete just added Radar as one of their products to offer to all of their customers, which I think is freaking awesome. And as soon as you get a globally recognized, retailer or distributor like that, you're making some headway. So it's really cool to see them adopt the BlackBerry solution.
Fleet
Yes, I
Complete
think that's
more than 2,050 subscribers and 8,000 worldwide customers. So
8,000 customers and 250,000 end units. Is that what I heard?
something like this, yes. And if there is a company that can sell the BlackBerry Radar to a company, I think it's Fleet Complete.
Yeah, I mean, gotta love a customer like that. He's pushing your product. He's worldwide. Much more so than, ZZ Top, which is only nationwide, from what I've heard. Anyway, just saying.
So now can we talk about Delphi?
Anyway.
Yes, we can talk about that.
Go for it, Brad. Have at it, man. Talk away.
Go for it, guys.
Oh, you wanted to talk about it? Go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, I was on the list.
So
I was following the list. First, Brad yells at me for going out of order on the list. Following the order of the list, and Hoff is like, "No, Brad, that's not the way we want to do it."
Hey, you know what? For the Bear Report podcast, there's a set of topic lists that we go through each and every week, list by line. All right, it's not my fault. You guys have it unorganized over here.
Usually Erica is responsible for keeping us to the list, but she doesn't talk very much. So
every time there's someone on my show every week, they always follow the same list of topics.
But that was then, and this is now.
True.
Yeah, that's Thursdays. This is Friday.
So anyway, okay, yeah. Subject at hand.
And
I say Delphi. Excuse me. And other people say Delphi. So whatever floats your boat, it's all good. Delphi, I think, is a European, nay, English organization, and they just recently signed a deal this week with BlackBerry, for their QNX offering. And what they want to do is collaborate in order to sort of bring more prominence and features and to their autonomous driving platform. So I think what they're saying here is, if you go to their delphi.com site, www.delphi.com, one of the first slides that you'll see is going to be their commitment with BlackBerry. If you dig down into that statement, you're going to find that they're looking at planning a launch in 2019. So it's not this year, not next year, but in 2019 that they're going to roll something out. Those are plans, right? Some stuff comes out early, some stuff comes out late, whatever. But that is their idea, is that they're going to take some QNX technology, which is based around QNX's hypervisor v2.0, I think. And it's funny because hypervisor's been a little bit of a joke in the telephony community, where and I don't know why, because it's super common in my world, hypervisors, where a base piece of equipment can support numerous operating systems on its base. So we all know that BlackBerry can support numerous different streams of operating systems in your car, and this is what it's all about. So one might be for your heads-up display. One might be for your seeing how many miles per hour you're going, or your TAC, or whatever you're doing. And one might be for your map, and one might be for your music, and this whatever. The list goes on. You could have 4 or 5 different hypervisors going on. But the important thing is that none of those applications can interfere with the other one, because the hypervisor is making sure that the only thing that those things can do is within themselves. So there's no issues where you can get involved with bothering another part of the operating system or displays. Anyway, so Delphi chose this platform, and it's a huge, it's a very huge deal. Whether it means millions of dollars for QNX / BlackBerry, I don't know. But the point is that a company of such stature as Delphi has chosen BlackBerry's QNX to do this thing. Just means that that's what they trust. It's a security thing. That is what's most important. It's a security thing. And it's also a feature thing, in that the hypervisor can offer, whatever you want on your dashboard. So that's my take on it. I don't know what you guys think.
I think it's a big win for BlackBerry QNX. Again, it shows that there is, there's companies out there that are keeping an eye on them and see how much of a security, how good of a security company they are, especially in QNX and autonomous driving world. And they see that they're a no-brainer to team up with. I mean, we've seen this a lot with QNX, and it makes me feel good, about the autonomous world that QNX is diving into. QNX has really taken this autonomous industry and the idea towards it and ran with it. They have, we've been hearing nothing but good stuff about QNX, BlackBerry QNX, ever since they really started kind of talking about this autonomous car. Autonomous car, I'm sure QNX was paying attention to it, but it wasn't really a big thing to talk about in the tech industry or in any industry until a few years ago, right? It's just recently become popular to talk about. And I feel like ever since it's became popular to talk about, BlackBerry QNX just took off with it. So you know what? We're diving into this. We really see that this is something big for us. We want to be number one. We're going with it. And they've done everything right, and they're making all the right moves. They're partnering up with great companies like Delphi, and it just makes you feel good about what they're doing with the autonomous stuff and this in-car security and such.
Yeah, you pointed out much more than I did about the autonomous driving, which was kind of the thrust of the thing. So thank you for that. I firmly believe that QNX is the kind of operating system and offering that can be the basis for that kind of mass platform output, trustworthy mass platform output. I mean, when you look at the fact that nuclear power plants, the space station, and other things that are running on critical applications that are running on this operating system, why would you not want that basis to run hundreds of millions of cars on? Why would you not want to start there? To me, anything else is an experiment.
That's just it too, because QNX is the only company that's got the level of certifications that they have in their automotive software right now. I mean, just like basic stuff, like their competitors out there, they can't, I mean, even something as simple as showing your critical safety functions through an LCD as opposed to through dials and lights. QNX are the only ones that's certified to do that. That's if you get behind the wheel of your car and you don't have a QNX powered car and you've got a display, it's going to show you things like your air conditioning. It's not going to show you things like your speed, right? Only QNX is able to do that. And you look at what QNX has been doing as far as the autonomous driving, they've been very conservative about it. They're not saying that we're going to have an autonomous car next year, where you had Google trying to say that, you had Uber trying to say that, you had all these people, and then they've had to back off, right? They've all had to push back what they said.
Apple trying to say that, and they completely
Apple can't. Yeah, forget Apple. But I mean, these guys that have actually done something as opposed to say, hey, we might do this, they've had to completely pull back what they're doing. I think the latest Tesla update pulled back some of their self-driving It's not self-driving, but they're assisted driving features, right? They pulled back on some of that. So, I mean, it's
people dying.
You see all these guys
people
with
dying
this
has an
was gonna
effect
say,
on things.
That was more of a safety issue than anything.
Yeah. Just saying.
Well, that's why, though. That's why, because they're pushing ahead saying, we're going to do this, and then guess what? They weren't able to do it. Meanwhile, QNX does have a test car that they've done with was it the University of Waterloo, I think? And they went out there and they tested it, and their car has never had an accident.
Yeah, and Apple,
right? Through all their demonstrations and all their tests, they've never had one accident.
And Apple canceled their car project because they focused on the animated emojis for the iPhone X.
Yeah, I can just see the map app going. Oh, you're here now, Buck.
Every time I thought we've hit
I like my map app.
Dave proves me wrong.
Man, people are just running to the show, you know.
I can assure you that in 5 years, this is how Apple Showcase will look like when they will show the autonomous car.
Wait, are you saying in 5 years that the everybody that's on this UTB blog is going to be showcasing stuff for Apple? Because I don't think that's going to ever happen.
You will see their
your money's wrong.
Whatever this guy trying to drive an autonomous car with animated emojis.
Yeah. There's a shithead in every car. Or something.
Oh my.
That degraded quickly. Sorry about that. I apologize profusely.
You scared away all 2 viewers of the show.
I'm good at that.
Okay, so we ran through all the topics.
We have
Dave just went and bucked everything up.
Next week. We have the earning calls next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's hope they keep making money. My stocks need it.
I'm actually thinking that they will be break even this quarter.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if they either break even or they're going to have a slight gain from what I've been kind of trying to put together.
Non-job maybe gains, but there would be break even. I think the most important topic for the earning calls is the software revenue and how many enterprise wins.
Yeah, from a telephony perspective, yes.
Because was it yesterday? Yesterday their stock had a nice little 6% bump up, right?
It started out, or I don't know, went absolutely nuts at 5, and then 6 and 7, and it pushed 8, and then I think kind of settled at 7.5 or something at the end of the day.
And that was on the Delphi news, right? That's what set that off.
Yeah,
it was the Delphi news and the Fleet news, I think, that came about late yesterday too.
Yeah,
if you look at BlackBerry's stock right now, it's $19.13 a share. So it's been today was up, and then it's been down pretty much the rest of the day. So
$19.13?
$19 or $9. I'm sorry, not 19. $9.13.
I was gonna say, I think I would have known about that.
Yeah, I'd be buying more stocks,
and I might have cashed out.
Yeah. They had their. Hopefully they start making money again. Or they're keeping them make money. Their profits go up again. I forget. Do we see the fall off from the settlement agreement come to play? That's not for a while, right?
Roy says no.
Roy says no. He's the correct answer. He probably knows more about the stuff than I do.
I guess you didn't talk about it last night on your Bear Report podcast, did you? Did you now, buddy?
It hasn't happened yet.
Yes, tomorrow hasn't happened yet. I don't know. I know nothing.
It's okay, Brad. Don't be offended that Dave doesn't listen to your podcast. He doesn't listen to ours either.
Yeah, I don't listen to mine either. I hate listening to myself.
Yep. And Brad can insult me all he wants. He shall be beaten unmercifully later.
Well, we before you got here, we were talking about how his podcast is the day before ours, and now you're just saying, well, tomorrow hasn't happened yet.
Which goes to show he hasn't listened to it. Hey, to be fair, last week I didn't get the show up until like Monday this week, so
it's a work week. Shut up.
So here's a question for everybody here, and then I think let's play a Twitter game with it. What's better? What do you like better, the silver or the black? I still
wait. Why are you asking us? We should be asking you this question because
I haven't decided yet. And I mean, honestly, they're the same phone. It's really just comes down to the color. And I'm not talking about the black edition. I'm just talking about the body themselves, right? Black or silver?
I love them both. Maybe tomorrow morning I'll regret my decision, which is, that's, yeah, never mind. Maybe tomorrow I'll regret my decision, but I'm liking the silver. I also love the black edition. I just absolutely love it. It is blacked out. It is very cool.
Yeah, the black edition.
The silver is like in your face, and I love that.
Yeah, silver stands out more, but the black is definitely a nice looking version of the key one. They all blacked out. I don't know. I feel like I would change my device every other day.
Black is my favorite color, so I'm going with the black.
Roy?
Well, you can't go wrong.
Black?
Once you go black, you never look back, so it will be black.
See, here's a couple of the things that's setting me off, right? Because you guys know one of the things I love most about the design of the Key One are the frets. I love how, and this isn't going to show up, but I love how the frets dig into the side there instead of just get cut off flat. I just think that is such a unique design, and just so much thought was put into that.
But they don't really do that on the black one, right?
The black one, they do it. You just can't see it. On the silver, you've got your little antenna lines, and you can see the lines where the pieces go together. And on the black, you don't see those, which I like that a lot more. It makes it look much more uniform and smooth. And then, of course, you definitely see the camera on the silver, and on the black, it just kind of fades away. And the most important part to me is the
logo,
BlackBerry bullets.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the BlackBerry logo, and you don't see them on the black. So I mean,
yeah, but when you stick
back and forth,
when you stick a case on the BlackBerry one, like on the video you did, it's prominent, because the end thing is that the back of the case is not supremely black, but the bullets are, so you still get to see it, and I like that. It's all good. I don't know, the frets, it's all good. I don't know. I like them both. I'm, the kid in me wants to go for the black because it's the new one, but the silver one to me is more of a Passport SE kind of a thing, and I just love that. It looks awesome.
I don't like that big AT&T logo on the back of it, the black one.
No, me either.
Yeah, I hear that. I
had that on my Priv, and I couldn't stand it. I hate branded devices.
My Canadian carrier tell us just like forget that. They stopped doing that eons ago.
Yeah. Well, I didn't mind the Canadian carriers. Actually, I didn't really care for, because they just put like their logo at the bottom of the device, which is fine with me. But like we have Verizon, and they did it on the Z10 or Z30. They just put like a giant Verizon logo on the top right-hand side of it, and they put it on the back as well. And I remember the old Verizon Droid devices. They used to have like giant Verizon logos on the back of them. It's like, stop it. We know they're Verizon phones. Relax.
Well, that's what they used to do on the BBOS phones. You'd have it running across, the bottom underneath your keyboard.
Yeah.
Then you'd have it on the back. And it's like, how many places can they slap the friggin' logo?
Yeah. I don't even know what this around, but yeah, I mean, I can't stand those logos on the back. It's on my prayer, and I wish I could like scrape it off with like a knife or something like that. But I've tried on. I forget what I tried. I tried it on the white Q10 from Verizon. I tried scraping that stuff off and just didn't come off.
Maybe we should start a new thing and call it low no go, as opposed to logo. It's low no go.
Is that a subdivision of Lenovo?
Well, maybe it could be, but that would be part of their logo, and I don't like that. So it's like low no go, I think.
Everybody's looking at their old devices right now.
Yeah, like the Z30 right now. That's like a giant logo on the back that says
That's
Verizon.
huge.
Verizon 4G LTE. Not just Verizon on there. We have to also show off the LTE version.
AT&T Torch.
Yeah, see, that wasn't bad. That wasn't bad. But when you throw like a giant logo on the back of the device or on the front of the device,
we gave up on that years ago. You guys suck.
Why does Roy have an AT&T Torch?
why not?
Why not?
I just had it.
Canada doesn't have these problems. We don't get this silliness.
See, I have a Rogers 9900. And I didn't mind that logo because it's not too intrusive. All right, everyone pull out your phones. Go.
Damn it, you bastard.
I have a TELUS Q5 here, but I can't seem to get the case off to see if there's a logo somewhere.
It's okay. We all have performance problems sometimes.
Yeah, Boris case off.
Absolutely no logo anywhere.
That's one of the reasons.
That's what I'm
love
saying.
this phone.
That's what I'm saying, Brad. It just, you don't have that problem up here in real world land.
Real world land. You guys are my favorite.
Oh, here it comes. Here it comes.
I can't even think of what the joke was. What was it? Where it was one of the Canadians coming out of the or being born from the ice.
TELUS Priv 0.
Okay, this isn't a BlackBerry device, but this is a Nexus 6P that's got a giant Nexus logo on the back of it.
Well, that just doesn't belong on this blogcast. What's wrong with you,
It's
son?
an Android device. It's part of the Android family.
Because it's not Canadian. Canadians don't worry about stuff like that.
Hey,
Since you brought that up, what about HTC there?
that was a good move.
Google Yeah, you think?
I think for both sides of the party, HTC gets money, $1.1 billion, and
Google lose money.
No, well, Google loses money. They don't care. That's like chump change to them. They get the Pixel division from HTC, which made all their Pixel devices already. So just bring them over. They're dying to get more involved in the hardware industry, and doing this move that helps them get. I really think Google's trying to go Apple and make their devices and also make the software.
Didn't work out too well with them when they bought Motorola.
Motorola was a patent scheme, I think. Or not scheme, but
Yeah.
a play.
Motorola was
Right to say that Google bought HTC handset division, not just the Pixel engineers, because I think that the same engineers that built.
No,
the
HTC
other
came out and said that they have. It's just their Pixel division.
Yeah.
They're still making any other phone?
Yeah, they said they're going to make more HTC devices down the road. So.
Oh, so they actually want to be bankrupt.
Well, now they're $1.1 billion richer now because they were able to do this deal, and I think I honestly think it was just the money.
They lost so much money, so this $1 billion is to cover the losses.
Hey, keeps them in business somehow.
Yeah,
I guess.
I agree with Roy. That $1 billion is not going to go very far for HTC because they've just been losing money by the boatloads, and which is unfortunate because HTC used to be Android's crown jewel, and now they're uh, uh, financially they're like the worst of the worst. Just about they're doing horribly. Which is like I said, which is a shame. They got some great designs, but
Yeah. The like the M9
they
like the M9 was like their last good designed phone, and you know the M
yeah, I don't
from the
know.
M7 onto the M9 they had great design devices, and they never got the limelight, the spotlight that they should have gotten because they were just trampled by Apple and Samsung spotlight at the time. But they were great devices. You know, I hope that they survive. I mean, I don't want to see any companies go down. I want, as much as I want BlackBerry to succeed in this market and such. You know, one more Google company means Samsung's not doing well, so that means BlackBerry has a chance of doing well as well.
Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for Sony having being involved in other things, Sony would be in HTC's position as well. But, I mean, they have other things to offset their losses in handsets. Sony's phones are just so expensive. So
Okay,
they phones cost a lot of money.
So do
we have
Google's.
more
So do
topics.
Apple's.
What, Roy?
Well, Apple is
We have more topics to discuss.
No.
No.
That was a monosyllable negative.
We're just rambling. Hey, it's the UTB Blogcast. We can.
Well, I did want to kind of point out because I think we may have said this before. We've said it pretty much every time somebody shows a loss, but there's so many people that are upset with BlackBerry because they're not out there making BB10 phones, right? They licensed out their hardware to these 3 other makers, and they just can't believe that BlackBerry would step away from the hardware. And I mean, here we have all these phone companies that are just losing money hand over fist. HTC really did have like some of the best hardware in the Android world, and they just couldn't make it. You know, the companies that are making it are the companies that are putting out a lot of cheap devices. And even like Samsung puts out a lot of cheap devices. You know, in our little world, what we look at, we only look at the Samsung Galaxy and the Samsung Note. But you walk into any grocery store and you're going to see a bunch of Samsung phones lining up their prepaid, $19 phones, right? So, I mean, that's how these companies are making it right now. They're commodities. And I think this is just further proof that Shin made really great decisions in doing what he did with the hardware. May not be what all of us wanted, but we still have BlackBerry phones because of it.
Yeah.
No,
BlackBerry.
everybody on the planet wanted or wants a BlackBerry hardware handset with BlackBerry software on it. That's what everybody wanted once, and it was a BlackBerry 10 thing, and it's the song that everybody wants to hear, and we're not there. We're just not there. So we are doing BlackBerry's doing the thing that makes them the most prominent in a security sense, that is available to all parties, be they individuals or enterprise. And that's what we're dealing with, and they've licensed it out, and they're not going to sell you anything anymore, kind of thing. It's not BlackBerry selling you a phone anymore. It's the TCLs and the Optimus and the Maraputis of this planet that are selling you hardware. It's the software that BlackBerry wants to be put on those things. So do I wish that things had been different? Yes. am I happy with the way things are? Yeah, to a degree, I'm totally happy. I will continue to buy BlackBerry branded handsets because to me, as far as I'm concerned, those are the things that keep me running my world and my business the way I want to run them. So I'm not going anywhere. This, it's the right piece of equipment for me. And how I got onto that rant, I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean it's tough to make these devices, and it's tough to keep them profitable. We saw BlackBerry be profitable over the years, and 2007 till roughly 2009, 2010, they were becoming profitable with these devices and number one smartphone manufacturer and such. But it's tough, especially when BlackBerry didn't have anything to leverage off of like some of these other companies do, like LG and Samsung.
Yeah.
And they didn't have anything there, and now that BlackBerry has
they released the BlackBerry 10 1-2 year late, and this was what changed their game. If Lazaridis were released the BlackBerry 10 instead of the playbook, we might see another smartphone wall today. But he decided to launch the playbook, so as a prototype for the BlackBerry 10 smartphones.
Yeah, I mean, we all know the story and the history and
hindsight. Yeah,
should BlackBerry have launched a playbook when they did? Should have they launched BlackBerry 10 when they did? Should have they gone Android when taking so long to go Android? That was the other big question. I remember back in BlackBerry Bowl 9700 days, Storm days, right? People are questioning BlackBerry should just go Android now. Go Android, and thank God they didn't, because we wouldn't have had some of the devices that we've gone through. I mean, as many people have said those devices were crap, there definitely were some craptastic phones in that mass, Storm 1 and 2, right? Two of the worst devices that's ever come out of the Waterloo camp, right? But there are other great devices that came out of there, and if they went Android, would we have those devices to this day? No,
I loved my Storm 2.
Storm 2 was a better device than the Storm 1.
Yeah,
I'll give it to you, but
it made it into the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah,
it was unfortunate.
And the playbook was more of a, I think, hey, tablets are popular right now. Let's get a tablet out. Let's get our new OS on there. We know we're getting
according to the book about BlackBerry, they released it. The only reason they released the tablet is to check the QNX OS before they gonna release a BlackBerry X, BlackBerry 10 device.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that was part of it. But I also think there's a part of them that said, iPads and Samsung, and there was, there still are, but there was a lot more Android tablets. There was a lot more focus on tablets at that time. And
tablets were brand spanking new. I remember it's like I couldn't get my hands on one. There were like cheap Chinese tablets that were coming out that weren't really cheap at that point. Samsung had their tablet. Apple had their tablet. And I mean, the Samsung tablet, it came out just about the same time as the playbook. I remember I bought a printer. I bought a printer. It's still in a closet in there that had a tablet on it, just because that was the only way I could get my hands on a tablet at that point. Only way I could go to the store and buy myself a tablet was by buying this printer with a removable tablet. Never could get that thing to work right. But yeah, I remember the first playbook I bought, and I mean it was amazing, and how that was going to change my world, having a tablet. And I love the playbook, and I use the heck out of the playbook. But like now, I don't need a tablet.
Yeah,
nobody needs a tablet.
Yeah,
tablets just. I mean, they were like.
I wasn't a big supporter
wonderful
of the
and amazing, and they weren't.
I didn't support it very well. I mean, you know, everyone can question whether the Playbook was a good tablet or not. I still think it is. You know, it's limited to this day, and I still think it's a very good tablet to this day. I know there's not many apps on there at work anymore, but for what I use it for, I use it more for web browsing and documents and such. And Playbook gets the job done for those two features. And you know, the fact this is probably one of the few tablets that came out with an HDMI port to it. You know, that was a nice thing about
I'm a Playbook fan. I take it on trips. I use it. I absolutely use it.
I don't have three of them for no reason.
And I would say that I would say that tablets are not useless, but unless somebody comes out with something better, my laptop replacement is going to be a tablet, and I'll let you guess what it is.
You can't call a Surface a tablet. You can't do it.
Surface
is I mean, I actually have another tablet. It's somewhere in my work bag. It's an LG G Pad, whatever. It was cheap at AT&T. I figured, let me get a decent Android tablet. I don't use that thing nearly as much as I use my Playbook still. And my Playbook is, what did it launch in 2011 or whatever it was? Or not 2011, that was too soon, right? When did the Playbook launch?
2011.
Was it 2011? That doesn't seem like it. But
April the 5th.
Yeah. And I mean, I still get more use out of my Playbook that launched in 2011 than I do my LG G Pad that launched maybe a year ago. And it's still a good tablet, but we can argue. So many people have argued what happened with BlackBerry in their hardware division, and why didn't this work? Why didn't it? Was it was it Thorsten Hein's fault? Was it Mike Lazaridis' fault? Was it Jim Basili's fault? Was it whoever's fault? Was it the janitor's fault at BlackBerry? We don't know. We never will know.
If you're going to say that the janitor was involved, I'd say those were sweeping allegations.
BlackBerry made. Go ahead.
That connection with the Playbook when you connected it to your BlackBerry smartphone, I thought that was just.
That was kick-ass.
I thought that was so awesome.
Still a feature I use today.
Yeah, me and my torch with the Playbook. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if you have a BlackBerry 10 device and a Playbook, those features still work.
Oh, God, that was killer.
And it still brings over your BBM. It brings over your text messages.
Yeah.
It still brings over your email, which you don't really need anymore because thanks to the email software in the Playbook, which is still, again, a very good... I sent an email from my Playbook the other week, and someone scratched their head because I have the signature still enabled, and they're like, "What are you doing sending from a BlackBerry Playbook? When did they go out of style?" I'm like, I still use it. I mean, I have right next to my, I have a little Bluetooth keyboard that I just hook up to it and just type away on it, and it
got me one of them too.
That was so awesome.
Yeah, it's a great device, and
going back to the Storm, that BlackBerry owns patents that Apple uses for its 3D touch.
I thought that was in question. I mean, that's something that I haven't seen any lawsuits about, and I haven't seen any licensing because I know that was.
I haven't either, and Apple probably with how this works and how that works. But I know originally BlackBerry owned BlackBerry did from what I've seen, they have because of with the Storm, they do have patents in with Apple's 3D Touch. So one could say that the Storm was actually the precursor to Apple's 3D Touch.
I mean, it was the first non-Apple device with a touchscreen to it. I mean, or a touch-enabled device that you use. I don't really want to call it a touchscreen because it was more a press screen than anything, and it was poorly designed press screen. I mean, it had it in the right spot. I mean, if if they had launched a Storm 2 instead of the Storm 1 the first time around, that device might have gotten off to a good start. And
yeah, I agree.
If
There were touchscreen phones before the iPhone. I was listening to one of my podcasts the other day, and there's a guy on there that wrote a tell-all book about Apple, all the good things and all the bad things. And he was just a guest on a radio show I listened to. And the first thing he says is there were no touchscreen phones before the iPhone. And it's like, okay, this guy knows nothing, right? There were touchscreens. There were capacitive touchscreens before the iPhone.
Yeah.
There was what was the name of the one? It was named after a fashion designer company, whatever, that looked exactly like the iPhone. There you go, the Prada. All the buttons, the volume rockers, everything was in the same exact place as the iPhone.
Oh, I have this. Undoubtedly, Apple stole their design from LG.
Yeah, from that phone, there was exactly the same.
Yeah,
Apple. There's also talk that Apple stole the design for the UI for iOS from. There was a Fisher Price, and this is no lie. There's a Fisher Price toy that had the UI that Apple was using on the toy before the iPhone launched. Exactly like the iPhone. Exactly like the iPhone.
Yeah. I mean, as I said last week, everyone steals from everybody nowadays, and back then too, for that matter. I mean, there's going to be lawsuits left and right, and Samsung and Apple are going to battle out in courts and all that stuff. But let them have it. I don't. I mean, if BlackBerry has patents in there, I've been shocked that BlackBerry hasn't taken legal action, because they're probably getting money behind the scenes somewhere. They're not that dumb of a company that they're not going to take money from patents that people are using. So, we've seen it in the past with lawsuits that they've gone after. And we saw it with the Timex stuff, right? The Timex group wants some kind of patent or technology that BlackBerry has a patent on, and they're going after that. So
yeah, which made a lot of people are now speculating, are we going to see a BlackBerry powered smartwatch from Timex?
I don't know. We had this discussion last week, but
yeah.
I think I'm still on the notion that it was more of a patent scheme than, or not scheme, but a patent play than anything. But would it be nice? Absolutely.
Me too, but I still want to see in the little booklet that accompanies that Timex watch, I want to see the BlackBerry Secure logo. That's what I want to see.
That would be awesome.
It won't be a BlackBerry branded watch. It'll be a Timex branded watch with a BlackBerry OS sitting on it. And I don't even know how much it's going to tell you that it's BlackBerry OS. It might boot up with a BlackBerry logo up front, but that's it,
Speaking of BlackBerry OS, do you think that they'll have anything to announce during this month's earnings report about if they've gotten anybody to jump on board, with them licensing out their OS?
You mean BlackBerry 10 OS?
No.
The Android OS.
BlackBerry Secure, the Android OS, the BlackBerry Secure Android.
I don't think an earnings call is where they announce that. I mean, they've announced they hinted at little things like that, but before in the past,
they typically, you get all those press releases, the morning of the call of all the new people.
You get some of them, but I don't know. I would. I mean, if it happens, I'm not going to be surprised, but I'm not expecting announcements like that.
Well, we know now it won't be phones. That's for sure. But
yeah, they're set with the phones apparently. So
yeah, so the TVs,
and which is interesting there because TCL makes TVs.
Yeah,
and so I wouldn't be surprised if you see. I think TCL would be the first company they go after or they team up with because they're already in agreement with them for phones. So hey, put our OS on your screen, on your TVs as well. Well, we just want to take some money from the OS, and you can do what you want to the rest. I was a poet and didn't know it.
BBM turns into BlackBerry Movies.
I got thinking about that. BlackBerry Mobile. What's their initials? BBM. What if just everything turned
Well,
into BBM?
apparently, according to the BBM MTech team, they're called BBMM. They're called BlackBerry Messenger.
What?
Yeah. Every time I've seen anything from BlackBerry for BBM MTech team, it's always had in their logo. It says BBM Messenger, which I'm like, BBM stands for BlackBerry Messenger. So does that mean it's called BlackBerry Messenger?
Yes.
Which, I mean, I just call it BBM and everyone's happy. Everyone knows what it is. But
yeah,
we all know it's a messaging platform. I don't know. I don't know if they're trying to emphasize it's a messaging app. And people forgot. Maybe people forgot that it was a messaging app. But
it's a messaging app.
That messages people. That's right.
Yeah, it's a messaging app that messages people. When they want to be a messenger.
Well, I mean, honestly, BBM fell out of favor here in the U.S. big time, and we pretty much know that that's happened most places across the world except for like Malaysia and Africa, Indonesia, and so how many people, when you walk down the street and you see Junior 16-year-old kid over there with his iPhone, is going to even know what BBM is? I could see calling it a messenger for that reason. It's like, hey, look, we have a messenger.
True. Yeah, I don't know. I just make fun of it because it's, from how I look at it, it's unnecessary for to have the last messenger. But
anyways. I'm with you, man. I'm with you. You market it right, and the extra word messenger is unnecessary. Yeah, it's unnecessary.
Hey, Brother Nil in the chat says BlackBerry Brad was supposed to find out if custom pins will be free on BlackBerry 10. Did he?
I want to hear what Roy has to say about pins.
I think that some people have not been charged for BlackBerry 10 pins on BlackBerry 10. And I think that means that I don't have an official answer, but I think that they've suspended charging people on BlackBerry 10 for pins from the information I've gathered from other BlackBerry 10 BBM users that use it more often than I do.
There you go. Sounds like a good enough answer. Should we call it, guys? We don't have Erica here to tell us to shut up.
And the last thing, do we have something to say about the two our friends in Puerto Rico and Mexico?
Yeah.
Yeah, go.
Way to go, Roy.
Roy. Do we want to promote Crackberry Kevin's stuff for Florida? I don't know.
If any of our readers have or did fundraise any money for those countries, you can share it in our comments, and maybe other readers will do the same.
Yeah, tweet it to us, and we'll retweet that stuff. If you're running any type of donations or anything like that, retweet, UTB blogs and bearporter.com.
And
yeah,
one of our own is in Puerto Rico. The guy that really created our site, our site admin, Robert, is there, and we lost contact with him for about 24 hours, and he popped up this morning sharing a photograph that looked horrific.
Horrendous. I mean, it's
and he said that wasn't even the worst of it. So we know that they're going to have a lot they're going through to rebuild. And
it looks kind of flat, although I don't think we know the full extent of it. I mean, we're talking about Robert, our site admin. Not sure the total
destruction
expanse of his world, but his completely concise communication was, this is what it looks like, and it's nothing like what it looks like overall. This is nothing like what it looks like overall. It's a small example, and he is working with a, what did he call it? It's a high example of being I don't know, what would you call it? It's a high example of being prepared. He's very inundated with basic issues. It's not camping. It's
No.
so much worse.
It's scary stuff, and I mean, I haven't checked the weather lately, but from what last I heard, there's more coming. So, potentially coming to the area and to the whole, Florida, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic area, the tropical areas and stuff like that. Yeah, pretty much the Key West and the Florida Keys have been just decimated. There's nothing there anymore.
Yeah. Robert, if you can hear this, buddy, I so wish you could be here right now, but you can't. And that's cool. Just take care of your family and make sure that you're safe. If there's something we can do for you, we'll do it. Yeah,
I mean, throw everything. Anybody who wants to do donation stuff or anything, let me know. Let UTB know. We'll both share that. I know I did something for Houston, so we try and work on something for all the Puerto Rico stuff and Florida and Key West and everybody down there. So and Mexico.
Horrific things in Mexico too. Yeah. Okay, so now that we can sign off on a happy note, good job, Brad. Was that Brad or Roy? No, that was Roy.
That was Roy.
Why didn't you say that like half an hour ago so we could sign out on happiness?
Hey, let's sign out on the fact that the Blackberry Q1 is still a very good selling.
From talking, when you start talking, it's very hard to stop you.
Yeah, just ask Erica. She tries every week.
I'm not sure I would take that. I don't know.
She have power that nobody have to shut you up.
So what I'm hearing is that
not touching that with a 60-foot pole.
Roy is the new Erica.
Yeah,
he's going to tell us when to shut up.
She gave him the whip.
That's what I'm hearing.
Okay, let's call it. Let's go.
Yeah, let's call it.
See you next week. Hopefully everybody shows up on time next week, Dave. And good night.
Good night.
And Roy.
Good night. Thanks, guys.